over an hour late.
Did I hold you up?
I wasn't standing around waiting, if that's what you're talking about.
Good. Then there's no problem. How are they?
They're good.
The skirt is long, just grazing the ankle, but it's to be worn unbuttoned to the thigh.
What kind of buttons?
Wood, you know, with an African feeling. I picked up a ton of African jewelry at the art fair in New York. I was inspired.
That's interesting. It's good work. Now let's talk about being prompt.
Ridge, if you liked the designs, then I
Look,
don't...
Felicia, you told me you'd have these to me an hour ago.
I got up late, okay? I was awake all night.
Why?
Why do you think?
Look, I've got the biggest show in this company's history sitting on my shoulders. If you're going to start pulling all this stuff...
It won't happen again.
Well, I'm not sure I can buy that.
Ridge, there is a lot more going on here than you know.
Were you talking about Jake again?
Yes.
I thought he left town. Are you telling me he's back now?
Yes.
That guy's bad news, Felicia.
No. No, he's not.
Were you back together or, no, or what?
No, there's a major complication.
Which, of course, you can't tell me about.
I'm sorry.
Felicia, I really want to be supportive here, but you're making it very difficult.
There is something that you can do for me.
What?
You can give me Taylor's private number.
Due to illness, the role of Taylor Hayes will be played by Sherilyn Walter.
No, Mr. Martin, I want you to keep on taking the medication until it's all through, okay? And if the symptoms persist, you call me. Right, and I'll see you next week at your appointment. Bye-bye. Mrs. Forrester.
Well, there was no receptionist. I wasn't even sure that you were in your office.
Well, that's okay. Please, come on in and have a seat.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed you last night.
Last night?
Yes, I didn't have a chance to say hello to you while you were at the house.
Oh, that.
Well, it was a lovely night for swimming, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I realized, Doctor, that after you and I had spoken last week, there was something that I forgot to mention.
What was that?
Well, Ridge's progress since Caroline's death.
Very good progress.
Yes, and I think he's ready to move on.
In some respects, he has moved on.
It's true, isn't it? I'm glad you've noticed it.
I'm not sure why you're here.
Well, I think that Ridge sees you as a link to Caroline's death. Now, it's true you've made a substantial contribution to his transitional period.
Which you've already thanked me for, Mrs. Forrester.
Yes, I know, and I guess I'm about to ask you to help him again.
How?
Well, by allowing him to move on, away from this support system that you have set up for him. I think he's ready to move on. As a matter of fact, Doctor, I think he needs to move on.
I see.
Do you?
Yes, you want me to stop seeing him.
Ridge needs to stand on his own 2 feet, don't you agree?
Well, hello, stranger.
I figured it had been long enough.
I heard rumors that you were back in town.
I am. So how about dinner tonight? Something romantic. Dancing, candles, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, very funny.
What? You telling me you're not available?
You know perfectly well that I'm not available.
Even if I were to propose marriage?
Mr. Logan, I missed you.
the bold and the beautiful. This portion sponsored by the dentist's choice for fighting cavities, Crest with Fluorostat.
Yeah, Dad.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I was just thinking about Felicia.
Felicia? Why?
She was in here a little earlier. She's still hung up on that Jake McLean, you know. He's back in town, by the way. Don't tell her I told you. She doesn't want to talk about it.
Won't say a word. It hasn't affected her work, though. Have you seen her accessories?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. They're interesting. Kid's still a free spirit, isn't she?
That she is. Your work's been excellent, too, son.
Thank you.
I noticed the lovely Dr. Hayes was over at the house last night.
Yeah, I invited her over for a swim.
Your mother and I saw that from upstairs.
You were over with Mother?
Yeah, I was trying to track down that tax information we were talking about.
I bet she was pleased about that.
Your mother and I are not exactly in sync these days. So, tell me about Taylor Hayes.
Oh, what about her?
You two seem to be seeing a lot of each other these days.
Time to time.
It appears the two of you are getting rather close.
Taylor's been a big help to me. I don't quite know where I'd be right now if it wasn't for her.
Is she still functioning in that way for you?
She's been very supportive. Sometimes it's hard to tell where the therapy ends and the friendship begins.
Well, I suppose a lot of that depends on how you feel. How do you feel about her, Ridge?
Mrs. Forrester, I really don't see that I'm preventing Ridge from standing on his own.
You've been his only major support since his wife's death.
I wouldn't call it major.
I would.
I rarely see him.
You've been to the house twice this week.
And that constitutes major support in your lexicon?
Are we going to have an argument about this?
It's an interesting question.
Doctor, you started to see my son for therapeutic reasons. That need is no longer there. Therefore, I think you should stop seeing him.
But that's your opinion, not Ridge's.
After last night, I don't think that Ridge would have an unbiased opinion.
Last night?
The view from the den looks out over the pool.
You saw us kissing.
Is that some new form of therapy that I'm not aware of?
No, Mrs. Forrester, it wasn't. Nor was it as significant as you seem to think it was.
You're not emotionally involved with my son, is that what you're saying?
No, that isn't. Nor would I.
Well, then what you're doing with my son, at best, is questionable. And at the very least, improper medical ethics.
He is not, nor has he ever been, a patient of mine.
Suddenly, there's no professional interest in my son?
Mrs. Forrester, why don't we just be honest here? You're not here out of concern for Ridge. It's your marriage. Specifically the part that Brooke Logan plays in your plans to reconcile with your husband.
That may very well be true. But the underlying reality is that this was Caroline's dying wish, that Ridge be with Brooke. I think Caroline knew better than anybody that this is what Ridge would have wanted.
So you up and married on me, huh?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, you don't look any worse for it.
Oh, thank you. So how are things going with you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the rest of my family.
Do you want to talk about that?
Margo, I need to talk about that. A big part of my problem is your brother.
How do I feel about Taylor?
Yeah. I don't mean to pry.
No,
but,
you're not prying. I like her a lot. She's friendly, got a good sense of humor. She's sensitive, and we have a lot of fun together.
Well, that's pretty interesting.
What's that?
You describe her in every way but the most obvious. She's a very beautiful woman.
Guess I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's interesting. Different points in your life, you come to look for different things in a relationship.
What are you looking for now, Ridge?
That's just it. I don't feel like I'm looking for anything.
Well, you've been through a lot, son, and I see no particular reason why you should push yourself. On the other hand, I see no particular reason why you should hold back either. It's funny, when you have no expectations, sometimes the nicest things happen.
That's definitely where I am right now. No expectations. I'm up for anything with anyone.
Thank you for seeing me on such short notice.
Oh, sure. It worked out great. How are you doing, Felicia?
I'm fine. No, that's not true. I'm desperate.
Well, at least you're being honest with yourself.
Sometimes I wonder about that.
What do you mean?
It's Jake. I went to see him. I guess I was hoping against hope that we could work things out.
Are you being realistic?
I'm not sure, Doctor.
Call me Taylor. So, you went to see him. What happened?
I was totally open. I told him exactly how I felt. I think I made a fool of myself in the process.
You told him you loved him?
In no uncertain terms.
It's never wrong to express your feelings. That is the cardinal rule in good mental health.
It didn't get me anywhere, though.
Well, he knows how you feel.
He's always known how I feel. It's how he feels that bothers me so much.
He doesn't reciprocate?
No, that's not it. Just the opposite, in fact. I really believe that he does love me. Even though he told me he didn't.
It sounds like this man has a major problem, Felicia.
Yes, it is major. That's what I came here to talk to you about.
So, you're here to see me about Jake, huh?
I tell you, I was blown away to find out that the two of you are related.
Yeah, well, we're very different.
As night and day.
Not that different.
Your personalities are certainly not the same.
Well, Storm, you know, we've had different experiences.
Whatever. Margo, I've got a major problem. My sister Donna is very wrapped up in this guy.
Storm, I hope you're not going to ask me to get involved in that.
Absolutely not.
Well, that's good, because I'm definitely not my brother's keeper.
I don't even want you to talk to him. That's not why I'm here.
Well, I can see this relationship doesn't sit well with you.
No. No, it doesn't. I'm very concerned for my sister.
Yeah. Well, I can appreciate that, but I really don't see what I can do.
You can give me some information. Information about Jake.
So, you want information about my brother?
Yes.
Well, what kind of information?
Anything you can tell me.
You know, Storm, I really don't quite understand.
Margo, I think you do. Jake has some pretty serious hang-ups.
Well, has he talked to you about that?
I've talked to my sister.
Ah, so he confided in her?
He's not exactly open about it. But then I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't already know, am I?
Storm, I really don't know how I can help your sister.
You can help me by telling me what's going on with Jake.
What makes you think that I know what's going on?
Margo, all I have to do is stand here and watch you. You're being very evasive.
All right. There are some things about Jake, and they're very personal. They've had a great impact on his life.
All right. So what are they?
If Jake doesn't want you to know, do you honestly think I'm going to tell you?
Why wouldn't you tell me? For that matter, why won't he?
Because that's his prerogative, Storm.
Look, Margo, I've got a sister who's falling for this guy, and I'm going to find out what he's about.
Well, he's a good person, I can guarantee that.
And you would tell me if he weren't.
Yes, yes, I would.
Well, I hope you understand when I tell you that's just not good enough. Donna has been burned before.
I'm not telling you that that relationship is going to work, but I am telling you this. He will not take advantage of her. He's just not that kind of person.
You see, that's part of the problem. What kind of person is he? No one seems to know, and Jake doesn't want to open up. I'm going to find out what he's about with or without your cooperation. He's living in my house. He's involved with my sister. I intend to get to know this guy. In detail, Margo. In detail.
Storm. You know, Jake needs compassion right now, not anger. Please. Please keep that in mind.
Jake's problem. I assume you're talking about his impotence.
That's not really it, though it may be a symptom
A symptom?
of a larger problem.
Well, maybe you better tell me about that.
Jake was abused as a child. Sexually abused.
By whom?
His father.
And how old was he?
5 or 6 years old.
And do you know how long it went on?
I'm not sure about that.
Felicia, I know I don't have to tell you this, but this is very serious.
I am very aware of that.
Well, you're right. His sexual dysfunction almost certainly goes back to the child abuse.
Taylor, I need your help with this. I have no idea how to handle it.
But Felicia, this is not my field.
But you have a subspecialty in psychiatry, you told me.
I'm not practicing anymore.
I would feel more comfortable working with you, please.
Do you think that you could get Jake to come in here?
No.
Why not?
He's unaware that I know.
About the sexual abuse?
Yes.
How did you find out about it?
His sister told me. Look, I know that this is asking a lot, but I need your professional help, Taylor. I'm desperate. I have nowhere to turn. I love this man and I want to help him, but I have to know how to go about it. Will you please help me?
Yes, I'll help you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hayes.
Jewelry provided by Stephen Dweck. Join us again for the bold and the beautiful.